It's make or break for Sydney CENOVIS tonight as they take on Brisbane at the State Sports Centre in the 95 MOBIL League. Shooting for Sydney today, Nerida Stewart and captain Katrina Wagg. Theirs is a mid-court built around the speed and defensive resilience of Marianne Murphy, and she's well supported by Sharon Wheatley at wing attack and Reagan Gilmore at wing defence. Back in the goal circle, it's Alison Williams and Amy Stevens. Liz Ellis, still out injured. Coach is Julie Fitzgerald. Amanda van der Waal and Yolanda Whiteman will share the shooting for the Ducks in their last game of this competition. The mid-court battle will be crucial, and trying to contain the Sydney three will be Tanya Hankinson, Kerry Holborn and skipper Maria Smith. Gun centre Tracy Bruce still out with ankle problems. At the back, Kylie Prideaux makes way for Tracy Liso at goal defence, and Marnie James is goalkeeper. Well, I think this match has an interesting edge to it. Brisbane, I'm sure, will want to finish what has been a disappointing season for them with more than just a solitary win. CENOVIS, to make the top four, must come out of this match with maximum points. It mightn't be too pretty, but Anne Sargent, I'm sure there'll be no commitment lacking.
Absolutely, both teams will really want the win, but I think CENOVIS should want it more. They still have that chance at the semi-finals, and that's crucial. As you say, both teams lacking some firepower, with Brisbane losing Bruce and, of course, CENOVIS missing their goalkeeper in Liz Ellis. But I think if you look at the rest of the CENOVIS contingent, 2 internationals on court, that's class. And I think it's that inclusion in their lineup that gives them the edge. And I think, as we said earlier, the will to make the semi-finals, which isn't impossible for them, is what's going to really drive them through this game. So I'm on the back of CENOVIS for 2 points.
Sydney CENOVIS start in possession with their bright yellow tops, and Jo Babington with the ball now. She's on for Nerida Stewart, who hasn't been able to make it to the start of the match. Katrina Wagg up the first shot. So Nerida Stewart caught at a wedding, we understand, and may get to the match yet. But in the meantime, they have to start with Babington.
Instruction, penalty pass or shot.
The clear voice of Colleen Bond, umpiring with fellow Kiwi Jan Teasdale for this match. Smith.
Very hesitant start from Jo Babington. She's normally, I know her stats in their last match weren't great, but she's normally quite an accurate shooter. But perhaps a little nervous given the importance of this match for CENOVIS.
Yeah, Babington only shot 5 from 14, 36% in the match against Sydney Electricity. But Brisbane are on the board first against Sydney CENOVIS. Hankinson. Holborn can't keep that in. So Sydney CENOVIS, and starting with the combination that finished the match against Sydney Electricity.
Yes, and their defence line remains as it was. I mean, there are not many choices there, given that Ellis is injured. Tracy Pearce is facing knee surgery, so she can't even swing wing defence. So they're just, I think they're very proudly running a young back line. But Sharon Wheatley, you remember, came into that game against Sydney Electricity and ran quite well. I think in the last 2 quarters of that match, CENOVIS running with Sydney Electricity.
Well, they equalled them in the 3rd quarter and won the 4th. One apiece.
If you look at the bench for CENOVIS, those on the bench are very young. And so if you're going to put on another mid-court line, you'd really be putting the babies out there.
Wagg. That's a better shot. And Katrina Wagg shot 57%, 8 from 14 in the match against their Sydney rivals. Van der Waal. So no-look pass from her, and she's stuck on the baseline, but it comes to Whiteman, and she does the same trick. Looked as though the pass was going to the top of the circle, but she was trying to pick up Van der Waal, who just pushes the ball over the ring for 2-2 after 2.5 minutes. Murphy to Gilmore to Wagg. Wheatley. Babington, Wagg. Too quick for Liso.
Better speed on the pass from Babington. Her first release to Wagg was really delayed, and that one was whipped out much quicker.
So mathematically, CENOVIS can still make the top 4. They need results to fall their way, and they certainly need to win this one. Of course, having had the draw, it probably won't come down to a goal difference, because they're going to finish with an odd number of points. So they're either going to make it by 1 or lose by 1.
First infringement, contact, penalty, pass or shot.
You did say this wasn't going to be pretty, that it was do or die, didn't you?
Yeah, Wag getting to know the floor.
Yeah.
So Katrina Wag just copying a bit of a knock on her way to the floor. Early test for Wag's elbow, which was slightly injured in her tumble.
I'm sure an injury to a shooter at this stage is not what Julie Fitzgerald wants, given Nerida Stewart is unable to start. The options are right down for Sydney CENOVIS.
Now, Liz Ellis, Australian defender who was out with a back injury, doing a lot of talking before the match as Murphy picks up the crumbs, really trying to gee up the players and pass on her experience and knowledge.
Wag holding firm on that hold, really dug in. Needs to finish it though. They're dropping short for her. Done a bit of work in the off-season in goals. I know some work with Mark Calder, former Australian captain and brilliant goal shooter. No. And as we see, she's really serving both the wing attack and goal attack role in various teams. Wing attack within the Australian line, goal attack, and sometimes wing attack for CENOVIS.
CENOVIS making the good start, and plenty of problems for the Brisbane bench. Now, Colleen Prideaux has had to make the tough decision of leaving her daughter Kylie out of the starting 7, but as we've noticed in the last few games, she's attracted a lot of whistle, and not an easy decision to make.
No, I think this had to be tried Liso in front of James. James is the most experienced defender in the Brisbane camp and deserves her place on court, and I think it's a sensible move to try some different combination, particularly because Kylie has been drawing the whistle. The other dilemma she's been faced with is sorting out the front line, and I think perhaps the most accurate of their shooters sitting on the bench in Rosie Springhart. She's had touches of many of the big games, never really had the entire game, and the option we haven't seen is Springhart lining up with Whiteman.
Wag leaves it for Babington.
They put in to draw Liso early, and it pays dividends.
Holman centre pass. Tracy Liso back at goal defence for Brisbane had half a game at centre against Garble. So there are some versatile players out there. Williams. Stevens. So the young pair at the back surviving the early test against Brisbane. Stevens and Williams, both still in their teens. Babington.
Again, the fake. Brisbane defenders who do well to hold off and crouch on the shot or get a lean out because they're really being faked on the jump.
Babington short. Smith. Hankinson. Whiteman. Hasn't been up here for a while. Only the 2 goals for Brisbane. Vanderwall has it now.
Contact, wing defence outside the circle.
And contact against Reagan Gilmore.
Contact, goalkeeper going to pass or shot.
And one against Stevens. A shot from Vanderwall. Brisbane's 3rd goal in a while coming. 7 minutes gone now. 8-3 to Sydney. Smith. Yellow shirts all around her. Holman, the players spare.
Again, I have to say it's a real shame for Brisbane that they can't start with Tracy Bruce. She's the feeder. Not only is she a strong driving player with loads of speed and connects their ends well, she's the feeder into the Brisbane shooters, and they really are struggling in the feeding department.
You just have to wonder what happened up in Darwin. Brisbane lost 1 and Sydney CENOVIS 2 up there. Liz Ellis and Tracy Pearce both injured. Tracy Pearce, of course, the most severe of the 3. She's facing a knee reconstruction. Murphy to Wheatley. Babington. Turns. James. Well, reasonable timing on the jump, but a better shot from Babington.
Again, though, they do well to hold back on the time because Babington has put the last few up with that fake and that delay in release on each shot. Has to be retaken in the circle, of course, an area Reagan Gilmore as wing defence can't enter. Just gets it away to Williams. Good backup from CENOVIS.
Gilmore, Murphy. Using the width of the court while they have to. A better defensive effort up the court from Brisbane.
2-on-1 in the circle. CENOVIS' advantage.
Wag works the 1-2 with Wheatley. And into double figures goes Sydney. 8.5 minutes gone. 6 to lead.
Great pass and drive from Katrina Wag. She draws the penalty as well. The offload was there with Babington, but she's confident to the post. A good shot from Katrina Wag. Wag puts it strong across the circle to find Murphy on the drive, and then the drive from Wag to the ball. Standard play, but executed well, and she'll finish with the penalty shot.
Gilmore. Contact against Maria Smith, the Brisbane captain. Murphy over the top for Wag. Unlucky for Lisa, who just had her eyes off the ball for a second.
Good lesson in not dropping the eyes or the head. It's a feeder's delight when they see them shift.
Amy Stevens the contact. Vanderwall the shot. 11-5. Wag to Babington. Meredith Stewart has arrived. So maybe they'll make a replacement quarter or half time. Mind you, things travelling quite nicely for Sydney CENOVIS. I wonder how Julie Fitzgerald will jump. Vanderwall. Hankinson. Oh, 3 of them went up for it.
Long release pass from Murphy, finding Wheatley well positioned. And it's a fast approach to the circle for CENOVIS.
Murphy and Wag. Lisa jumps back out of the way. She's out of play. Babington. I don't think she knew it was coming either.
No, I was expecting Wag to commit to the post too. Although Babington was there as an option, I thought Wag had a really close shot on her hands. Just see Carly Prideaux warming up at the back of the stands too for Brisbane. So perhaps her mum, Colleen Prideaux, electing to put her straight back in the game. It's a quick experiment.
Vanderwall.
Contact, goal keep, both players.
.345 left in the first quarter. Sydney dominating. 12-6. Wheatley. Oh, looked like a good ball, but James agile in the air. Babington has it now. This time the over-the-top option works for Wag.
Babington elects the high territory to approach Katrina Wag, and she'll finish it.
Wag, after a tentative start, looks more confident with her shooting end.
She's put up 5 from 10, so it's nothing to write home about, but at least she's attacking the post. So she's, in other matches where she may have passed off, she's confident to attack.
I'm only remembering the good ones, obviously. 5 from 10 isn't great after all.
Babington with 8 from 9.
Oh,
but I think the difference, Wag is really the engineer in the attack, and perhaps the reason that we're seeing a Brisbane player warm up is that Katrina Wag's really running riot. Might do well to swing James and Tracy Liso and see how Liso runs sitting back on Babington, who's less of a mover, and have Marnie James chase the strength of Katrina Wag.
And certainly Meredith Stewart on the CENOVIS bench is just sitting there enjoying the match. She's not warming up. So perhaps Julie Fitzgerald wants to give Babington at least half a game. As she shoots now.
Well, she's put 8 on the board for them, and I think they're starting to find their rhythm, so she'll probably pay them that respect.
Meredith Stewart left there, ball in a lap. Nominated in the starting 7. Perhaps she'll get on the court yet. So it's Wheatley at the moment.
Congested at the top of that Brisbane circle, but they decided to try and feed the ball through anyway. Murphy too quick for them. She's got a high workload in defence, as has Wag.
Well, Wag's passage to the circle was cut off there by a double block from Brisbane, but eventually found a way to the post. One against Kerry Holborn. Murphy. So strong is Wag in the air that that's a pretty safe bet when she's one-on-one with either Lisa or James.
Nice approach from CENOVIS. Babington increasing her workload.
James the rebound. Holborn. Oh, the high ball for Vanderwall.
Well, the idea was good, the execution not so. Would have opened the play nicely and allowed Whiteman to swing to the post.
A minute to go, first quarter. Certainly, Sydney CENOVIS unfazed by the last-minute change they had to make to their shooting combination. Because Babington and Wag have put up plenty of shots. And Babington in particular has converted most of those opportunities.
Babington picks up the low delivery from Wheatley, swings it out to the top of the circle to Murphy so that she can gain closer position, and she'll draw the penalty to finish.
Meanwhile, Vanderwall to Whiteman. Oh, kept in by Gilmore, but only to the advantage of Hankinson. Whiteman.
Well, that's her first for the match. She's really been kept out of the game in the shooting department. 1 from 2 for Yolanda Whiteman.
So her first goal coming in the last 15 seconds or so. In fact, there's time called now by Jan Teasdale. And it's a good first quarter for Sydney CENOVIS. 10-goal advantage is something to build on and to feel confident about. And Babington and Wag working well. Wheatley and Murphy feeding them well. Sydney CENOVIS 17-7 over Brisbane. Sydney in possession as we start the second quarter, and not too much wrong with the shooting stats of Jo Babington from the first.
No, from a slow start where she looked a little shaky, she really brought it home. 10 from 12 at 83%. Katrina Wag lifting after your comment, Steve, to bring it home at 58% with 7 from 12. The Floppy Ducks, though, a little sad, particularly for Yolanda Whiteman. 1 from 2, 50%, and that goal coming just in the last seconds of the quarter. Amanda Vanderwall, though, 6 from 9, 66%. That could be lifted, but respectable. So the Floppy Ducks really struggling in terms of possession and accuracy.
Whiteman. And coach of Brisbane, Colleen Prideaux, hasn't waited any longer before trying to stop the rot, because she's made wholesale changes at quarter time through the mid-court and at the back. So Kerry Holborn has moved from centre to wing attack. Tanya Hankinson is off. Tracy Liso has moved from goal defence to centre, where she played the second half of the match against Garble. And Kylie Prideaux is on at goalkeeper, and Marnie James has moved forward to goal defence.
And Yolanda Whiteman, where she put one shot up right near the end, has been the first to get on the board, so maybe things are changing for them.
Whiteman.
Much brighter start from the Ducks. They really look like a beaten side in that first quarter. Very lacklustre, no passion. And a good touch from Prideaux.
Maybe she just needed to be stood off for a quarter to get her fired up.
Pretty hard to get the censure from your mum.
Yeah. Hard decisions made at quarter time. Colleen Prideaux on the left. Oh, that had a good look and decided to go through. Murphy's centre pass to Wag.
Contact
Brisbane have started this second quarter 5-1 in less than 3 minutes. James, the ball to Holborn, Whiteman. Tough one for Van der Waal. Stevens up early.
Yeah, had too much height on him. Wasn't in the right position. Stevens has a lot of length on the arms and legs, and she did well to come from the back position and cleanly tap it through. And all of a sudden, Ducks back in the hunt. Good shot, good line from Whiteman.
Van der Waal. Oh, that's a big ask for Whiteman between Williams and Stevens. Van der Waal. And what a difference it can make if you sink all your shots. I mean, you can only be having equal possession with the other team and yet really catch them in a hurry if they're only shooting 60% and you're shooting 100.
Well, that's the story for the quarter. Absolute accuracy from Brisbane, from the Ducks. And CENOVIS just missing their rhythm.
Penalty up in the circle against Prideaux, but Wag will take the second opportunity. Missed by Babington first time.
Well, Babington's never looked like it was on target. Really went skating across the top of the goal.
Oh, down they go. And Wheatley is hurt, who actually caused Liso to fall. Now, I don't know whether Liso trod on Wheatley here. Let's watch.
Wheatley here left of camera. She's fully extended, and an accidental trip on Liso, so they both probably have felt that one.
Well, what a wretched run Sydney CENOVIS are having with injuries, as Sharon Wheatley, their agile wing attack, is helped off the court with the left ankle injured. Now, how are they going to rejig the lineup?
Well, they can go straight back to what they put out against Electricity. Wag on the wing, Spindler and, Stewart, knee Spindler, and Babington with shooting duties. And that would appear what they're going to try.
Well, this was not the way they wanted to get Stewart into the game, with an injury to one of their starting 7. Wheatley shaking her head. Back underway, 22-19. Sydney lead at 5.5 to go, second quarter. The thought crossed my mind, but I didn't express it at the time. When Stewart arrived, you wouldn't want to make the substitution and then unnecessarily without an injury, and then later in the match find yourself with a couple of injuries and run out of subs.
No, that's the case, but they may well have just made the positional switches to cover that sort of thing. They're lucky they've got an attacking player up their sleeve, though, because they're light on in defence. And through the middle, the next in line are just babes, talented as they are.
James to Whiteman and Holborn. Well, I wonder if this will lift Sydney CENOVIS, who certainly got the staggers in this second quarter. They've been heavily outscored. Here's Stewart, looking to get straight into the match.
I think that's the case. Stewart has a real presence on court for CENOVIS, and she looks very determined, very focused. And Gilmore, I think, too, their young wing defence really rising to the challenge. That charge down from her and now from Williams have brought CENOVIS alive. You really need that sort of lift if you're trying to get it back together.
Here's Murphy. Stewart works it with Wag. Get a little closer. And Babington. Well, they're short. They keep winning the rebounds. It doesn't matter. Fourth time lucky? No. And one against Babington. Contact. So they only lead it by 3. Under 4 minutes left, second quarter. Smith to James. Holborn. Whiteman spills through her to Stevens. Back they come. Stewart, Babington. And Prideaux stuck with a well, but there's a contact against Maria Smith. Stewart. James, strong for the rebound. James doing a lot of work up the court. Yolanda Whiteman. Well, the scoring's just dried up in the last couple of minutes. We seem to have been on 23-20 for a while. Murphy
doing a great deal of work down the court for CENOVIS. Not too much drive from Gilmore and Williams. Williams in particular just sitting back watching, and Murphy really doing a pass and cut to make their progress through the middle third.
Wag, too tall, agile in the air. Babington, Stewart.
Stewart's rock steady, very accurate shooter. Economical in her moves. And that's just what they need.
For the lead for Sydney.
Great take from Wag. She's so strong in the air, and the speed on the outlet. Babington holds it up a fraction, but she starts Stewart, and Stewart just juggles it with Wag until she gets where she wants. And the balance on the shot.
And Babington loops out for her. Under 2 minutes left now. Till half-time. And this match anybody's.
I'm still a little stunned at Brisbane's recovery. I mean, it wasn't just that they weren't playing well, it was the whole on-court attitude. There was just an air of defeatism about them, and I'm not sure what happened in the quarter break, but they've rejigged the feeling in the camp.
Whiteman with the throw-in. Well, Stevens has got the elevation to get over Van der Waal. Just needed a touch on it. And Sydney down the other end in a flash. Stewart.
Ambitious ball from Ned Stewart, but Murphy hauls it in. Sprays one herself.
Has to be CENOVIS ball. Kylie Prideaux went over a little optimistically. Certainly came off Brisbane hands. Murphy. And a contact against Babington, so they turn it over in possession. Liso. Time enough for a goal. Inside the last 45 seconds or so. Holborn. Liso to Van der Waal. Murphy. And Colleen Bonds called a toss-up. Liso and Murphy. Ooh. Liso went early and missed it. Babington. Stewart.
Important shot from Stewart. Takes CENOVIS to a 5-goal lead. They're on the recovery trail.
Timekeeper's up, and the last 2 goals of the quarter scored by Sydney after they were stuck on 23-20 for some time. And of course, had to cope with the withdrawal of Sharon Wheatley, out injured. But Sydney CENOVIS steady it at 25-20, but they've had their 10-goal lead at quarter time halved. Sydney CENOVIS have to be a little worried by the comeback from Brisbane, and their shooters for the Fluffy Ducks certainly did the job in the second quarter.
Yeah, CENOVIS 33% for Babington, which was a really low quarter. Fluffy Ducks, look at the comparison. We've really seen the two sides swing. Fluffy Ducks with 7 from 7, 100%. That was on Van der Waal. Whiteman really lifting. If you remember, she was 1 from 2 in the first period, 6 from 7 in the second, 85%. The slide, though, on CENOVIS, 3 from 9, 5 from 9, averaging, in the vicinity of 40%. So not a good quarter for CENOVIS in goals.
Maybe the left-hand end is the scoring end. We'll see in this third quarter whether there's anything to that stupid theory.
Did you sneak a look at Jenny and I then?
Stewart. I'm right.
Well, Jan T's done taken time to check your theory then.
Time blown just for a moment while they sort out Tracy Liso's bib, which had come adrift on the back. Here we go. Van der Waal checks her feet. They're okay in court. One against Gilmore. And they're quickly taken by Brisbane. Van der Waal.
4 times Whiteman has offered, each in a position to receive, and they've not given her the ball.
Little smile there from Amy Stevens as the held ball call goes against Van der Waal. I think defenders enjoy that, don't they?
I guess they do.
You never enjoyed having a call against you, right?
Never happened, Steve.
Never happened?
But then I have a bad memory.
Murphy, Stewart, Babington. Oh, cross court to Murphy. This is crisper stuff from CENOVIS. Pulled that out of the crisper drawer, I guess.
Beautiful approach. Stewart starting it off, and a great swing pass from Babington to the corner. Quick to find Stewart, who'll do the deed in goals.
James. Holborn. Whiteman.
Good take from young Amy Stevens. She had good position, was strong in the air. Murphy, collision course. Dangerous play by Marnie James.
Collects Murphy, and my eyes shot over to Jill McIntosh, the Australian coach. This was a bad fall.
Murphy unsighted. James knowing that she was on a collision course.
I think Murphy took most of that on the right backside, if I can put it that way. I think she's going to be all right. I don't think too much was twisted, but she landed very heavily. She just put a hand to her hip, I think.
Have to be stunned. I mean, she was in full flight and got quite a tilt. James's eyes to the ball and clips the arm and the shoulder.
Murphy is okay, thank goodness.
In fairness to Marnie James, I think she probably did have eyes for the ball as well, but dangerous to come through in a player that is completely unsighted.
Stewart. Oh, one of her better shots of the match. Sydney by 12. Really dominated this third quarter, which is 5.5 minutes to go.
Whiteman back to nightmare stats with no shots from 2 attempts, and I just feel not really being used. There's many times she's been available and not picked up by Brisbane, and a frustrating way to play as an import.
Confusion about the call from the umpire here. Anyway, we're away with Stevens in possession for Sydney. Now Murphy. Gilmore to Stewart.
Babington put the drive on the circle and got a bit of a nudge along from Carly Prideaux. James had it, but just didn't have the jump at the end. Matched the move, but couldn't match the elevation. Oh, good one there from Marnie James.
And Murphy gets quickly to the floor to contest.
First to it, but you can't take possession when you're on the ground, so not conceding that she wasn't first to it. It was simply the manner in which she took it. And again, it's Van der Waal, not Whiteman, on strike.
Stevens, and they're going to be a toss-up. Amy Stevens and Yolanda Whiteman. And Whiteman too quick on the draw. Murphy hustling after it, but Smith, the strong hands.
Murphy would probably like a 5-minute rest.
Well, she'll get 3 minutes in about 4.
She's looking just a touch weary, actually, since that fall, and can well understand that...
Well, if nothing else, it had to have given her a fright.
Oh, yeah.
Birmingham flashed before her eyes.
Yes, I think so.
Sydney doing it reasonably comfortably again.
Great work from Amy Stevens, clean from the back. Good positioning, and she follows through with it. Good take from Stewart.
Babington. Murphy twists in the air. Fakes to get rid of Prideaux. Got the shot away inside the 3, just.
Taken by Stewart, strong in the air. Quick hands on to Babington. She swings it to the corner to Murphy. Murphy just waits to see which is the better offer, and she chooses Babington.
Well, suppose there's something in my theory, Anne, about the left-hand end. Do you detect any difference in umpiring styles between our two New Zealand umpires, Teasdale on this side and Bond on the other? I mean, you wouldn't expect there would be.
No, and I mean, to answer that question, my eyes have gone straight to our stats sheet and to the ever-reliable Jenny Thompson. And no, the penalties are quite balanced between the two sides, so that's not been an indicating factor. You could check for magnets short of that.
Yeah. Colleen Bond. We've seen a lot of Colleen in Australia over the years. One of the regular visitors on the umpires exchange.
Once again, just watching the CENOVIS pattern, Williams deep near the circle, offloaded to Murphy on the transverse line, but didn't offer the drive through the middle. That forces the CENOVIS attacks to really come deep down court, and I really think they're missing that connecting drive from their backs. I'm sure Murphy wishes it had come at this stage of the game.
Stewart. A touch from Babington.
Smith doing well from Brisbane. She shot off the space on Babington and forced it wide.
Quick hands from Murphy to Stewart. And this has been a good third quarter for Sydney, and they've just about got the match wrapped up.
Wag swings across court. Quick hands, Murphy onto Stewart. Stewart goes for the 9th. Meredith Stewart on 9 from 11 in this third quarter. So she's made a difference since her entry into the game. I'm sure they wish it wasn't because of Sharon Wheatley's injury that she came on court, but she has made a difference. Babington too, really lifting 8 straight.
15 the lead now. That's the biggest lead of the match, and it's quite a handsome one to take into the final quarter as Babington shakes off James, but was looking for the pass to Stewart. Around 30 seconds left in the quarter. Well, Brisbane with plenty of problems, not too many options on the bench for them to consider either. 18-7 they've lost this quarter so far, and there's time for one more. Now, with Brisbane taking the rebound, I think we've seen the end of the scoring as the timekeeper's up. And that is three-quarter time, and Sydney CENOVIS have all but secured the points here with a damaging third quarter. Certainly all over Brisbane. Marianne Murphy surviving a scare, and the front three of Wag, Stewart and Babington doing the job. The scoring drying up for Brisbane. So at three-quarter time, it's 43-27 to Sydney CENOVIS. So Sydney should be able to take it home from here and keep alive their slender hopes of making the top 4 of the MOBIL League.
Well, what a change of fortunes. We've really seen this game swing. CENOVIS back on track in the third quarter with 9 from 9 for Babington, 100%. Meredith Stewart on target too with 75%. Story, though, more a lack of possession for the Fluffy Ducks. Vanderwall with 5 from 7 at 71%. Whiteman dropping back down again to her first quarter stats of 50%, this time with 2 from 4.
So Sydney enjoying 21 shooting opportunities to 11 from Brisbane and converting most of them. They won the quarter 18-7. And that should be enough to ensure safety. And again, Brisbane did win the second quarter 13-8. So that kind of quarter would give them a scare. And once pressure comes into it, anything could happen. But it is a fair way back from here. Stewart and James, the toss, and James winning. Smith, Vanderwall.
They've got their goal attack well down court, so they need someone else to connect. Not happening for Brisbane.
It's Vanderwall and Whiteman, we should quickly point out, have swapped bibs at three-quarter time. So Vanderwall at goal attack, that's why you saw her so far up the court. Whiteman back in the circle.
through the hands of Holborn.
Whiteman leads to the top of the circle. It's obstruction against Stevens, so Whiteman, well, she's a long way out, may take the shot.
The screen's there so that it wasn't guarded. Beautiful shot. Watch the balance on Yolanda Whiteman. The step in for distance, drops.
Whiteman has the range, not quite this time. Stevens. Gilmore to Murphy.
Again, Murphy really assuming responsibility for the down court work. But I know she has to run the length of the court as a centre, but I just wonder about the lack of backup from the defenders.
Yeah, Williams again anchored on the transverse line, just didn't venture up court. Stewart to Wag. Babington. CENOVIS will be very grateful for the short break that they've got to try and get both Liz Ellis and Sharon Wheatley right. Get away with the points here and be able to field a stronger lineup for their next matches. They're still to play a couple of the tough teams, Garvel and Melbourne in particular. Van der Waal shoots truly. She's chasing a lost cause, I think. What have we got? 11.5 minutes to go. It's 16 the lead to Sydney.
Footwork called against Stewart. It was plucked nicely out of the air by Wag.
Prideaux takes the pass. James. Liso. And just escorted out by Alison Williams. Wag to Babington. All four of them, you could throw a blanket over the four of them there, and Prideaux wrests it away, but draws the whistle.
It's a clumsy challenge from Prideaux. She was, you know, half an hour late coming in on the ball, and to continue with it and take it out of the hands is unnecessary, frustrated as you may be.
Whiteman, oh, no one's going to get that. And a worried Brisbane bench. Colleen Prideaux, Faye Foran and Tracy Bruce. Tracy Bruce, the injured centre court player, formerly Tracy Foran, and yes, another daughter of an official. Much happier Julie Fitzgerald on the right, the CENOVIS coach, but Sharon Wheatley with the left ankle up, right ankle I should say, that was injured in late in the second quarter.
Left, you were right.
Left or right?
Oh, I think she's got both strapped actually, just to confuse both of us. She would have both strapped preventatively. Nice swing from Holborn. Whiteman drives the base, and the quick little flick and the balance there.
And the sting gone out of the game. 6 minutes 20 to go. 16 the lead. Can only be one winner here.
Shocking pass to Murphy. She's really had it all thrown at her in this game.
Contact against Babington. So James, outlet to Liso. See James, by contrast, backing up at least as far as the centre circle. Murphy on the deck again, able to smile.
I'm only laughing because she laughed on her way up and on her way down, like, what am I doing in the middle of this mess again?
Well, we said at the start of the match that that'll be the prettiest match you'll see with these weakened starting sevens.
You have a lot to answer for.
Yeah, I think I'll put the mocker on.
I think so.
Oh, down goes Gilmore.
Well, Murphy's never been one to back out of a tussle, and she's quite an aggressive player, but I think she's had more than her share of physical action in this game. Most of it coming from the floorboards.
Van der Waal.
Williams a little over-exuberant, trying to throw the arm up on the second stance, but of course an obstruction.
5 minutes left, 49-33.
Beautiful drive from Wag, great feeding position. She just needs a shooter at home.
A good back up from Murphy with Stewart pressured to pass. Babington.
Oh, Stewart doing well. She was on the near side of the court off balance. She swung it across, put the drive on, and she'll now about to shoot. So good, strong work from Stewart.
Well, Babington quick to applaud a teammate too.
Wag with her hand in the air, signalling some form of defensive pattern, I dare say.
James to Smith. Van der Waal looks for Whiteman. In the corner is Liso. On the ground is Murphy.
You've got to count on that, Jen. She hasn't got enough room on the sheet for that sort of stat.
Loose ball, and it's Brisbane's. Quickly taken by Van der Waal.
This game has been deteriorating in terms of skill level and control. And I think, you know, the number of people hitting the deck is a testament. It always has a tired look about it.
Well, Brisbane at the end of their campaign, this is their last game, and it has to be some disappointment to them to have finished 5th last year, and they could yet end up with a wooden spoon. Because with this result, Sydney CENOVIS get over them, and they get off the bottom.
Out of the cellar, that's right. It's been strange seeing CENOVIS sitting at the bottom of the ladder. But must point out that their matches are loaded at the end of the draw. They have their hard run home now, with most of their matches and their difficult ones still ahead.
Van der Waal, Liso.
Murphy holding up Van der Waal because she knew that Williams had put on a great challenge in the middle and was overextended. Williams back with the rebound, so good work from her.
Murphy to Babington, 2:50 left on the clock, 51-33. Prideaux intercepts.
It's well read by Kylie Prideaux. She knew that none of the shooters were home, and Murphy was really looking to put it to someone on the drive, so she simply hung back, plucked it out of the air. Williams with another good challenge.
Now, Jill McIntosh, Australian coach there. Beside her is Grace Bryant, the Australian doctor. What happens for the man between the end of the Super League and the trip to Birmingham? There'll be some Australian training camps. Yes,
not overkill, because I think Jill McIntosh will be aware how heavy this campaign has been, but certainly they'll come together. And they do have some pre-embarkation training, just very light. They've got a couple of days in Birmingham to get themselves going. So Jill, of course, has been bringing them together throughout the MOBIL League, conscious that whilst they are working in their club formats, they do need to have a national conscience as well. And particularly after a couple of the more physical, impassioned matches. Good swing from Murphy there as she picks up Stewart on the drive. As they just put another one through for CENOVIS. You remember a couple of the matches were a little feisty, and I think the national coach conscious to bring the players back together as a group, as an entity, rather than sitting split apart club against club. So they've had touches throughout the league.
Touch over a minute left, and Sydney CENOVIS write the victory in against their name, 53-34. It's Gilmore, hands it to Murphy. Sydney looking to finish with a flourish. James, though, has the intercept. Holborn to Whiteman and Van der Waal.
Lovely flourish from Brisbane.
Sweeping play from the Fluffy Ducks, saving some of their best till last, and Van der Waal applauds the teammates up the court, who did well, starting with the intercept from James.
Great work from James, yes, and the backup good from Holborn, because she had to land in that mid-third to continue it. And again, James coming away with it. So she's one that has been consistent all match and hasn't given in. And in fact, all series, she has put in some good netball and been a good worker for Brisbane.
I think Marnie James' commitment unquestioned in the Brisbane lineup. They've been a bit patchy in this match. James and Captain Maria Smith, perhaps two of their best out there. Whiteman's tried hard, but they haven't always found her. Vanderwall. And full-time blown now. That last goal counting because it was the penalty shot. And Sydney CENOVIS got a fright in the second quarter when the difference came back to 2 or 3. But it was 43-27 at three-quarter time. And by the end, they were comfortable winners, Sydney CENOVIS, over the Brisbane Downy Fluffy Ducks, who finished their program with only one win. Sydney winning this one, 53-36. Well, that was a comprehensive win for Sydney CENOVIS, but the result more important than the margin. Anne Sargent talking with Marianne Murphy.
Thanks, Steve. Well, I hope she's got the energy to get through the interview because she certainly hit the deck a few times. Marianne, how's the gluteus maximus?
Lucky I've got a fair bit of it, a bit of padding there, so that was good. Yeah.
Well, you did hit the deck a lot, and of course injury is a problem for CENOVIS. Good to get 2 points on the board. It was a little laboured, the victory, though.
Well, we've been working a bit hard with having a few injuries in the team, and a couple of our regulars are out. But I think the young ones did a great job, came in there and supported us really well. It's been a bit of a struggle, but we're finding it now, getting it together, and hopefully we can just go from strength to strength.
Second quarter scare. Can you explain why we went down the gurgler in that period?
You know, I think we just have to keep our concentration up and keep it going throughout that second quarter. We were lucky to get, and we worked hard to get 10 goals up. I think that's an area of our game we'll have to work on to get through the tougher matches against Garble and against Melbourne. Yeah.
Well, as you say, they're all tough now, particularly if you're going to grab a semi-final berth.
Yeah, that's right, but hopefully we're getting it together now, so we can just put our heads down and concentrate on each game as it comes up.
Well, Steve, CENOVIS out of the cellar. Marianne Murphy sore but not sorry.
Thanks, Anne. Let's look at what's ahead. And this Saturday, the MOBIL League moves to Melbourne and the new Netball Centre at Waverley, where we'll see Garble take on Sydney CENOVIS. Well, these last few games are absolutely crucial to the makeup of the top four. Hope you can join us on Saturday to see how it pans out. Until then, I'm Steve Rebellion. Goodbye for now.